There is a hole in your lawn about the size of a nickel, and there are 2,000 yellowjackets living under it. You have mown over it. Your children have run over it. And nothing has happened yet because until about 3 weeks ago they were busy hunting caterpillars, and they had no interest in you at all. That changed this month. Entomologists at the University of Kentucky call the yellowjacket the most dangerous stinging insect in the United States. Not the most painful, the most dangerous. And late summer is when the colony is at full strength and the mood turns. 41 years I did residential pest control, South Georgia up through Alabama, and I took down more nests than I could count, some for $20 worth of product in 10 minutes, and some I walked away from and told the customer to keep the children inside. Knowing which was which is the whole job. Today I'm going to show you the $6 can and the exact way to use it so you don't get hurt. The 4 things that live around your house and which of them you must never, ever kill. And the nest that will put you in an emergency room if you touch it. And I'll tell you plain how to know it. And there's a 4th option nobody ever tells homeowners about, which is doing nothing at all. And there's a good reason for it that most folks have never heard. But there's a mistake at the end that has put more people in the hospital than any product. Let me tell you what actually happened in your yard this summer. Because once you understand it, everything else makes sense. Back in spring, one single queen woke up under some bark, flew out, and started a nest about the size of a golf ball. Just her. She laid a few eggs, raised a few workers, and handed the building over to them. All spring and early summer, that colony was hunting meat. Caterpillars, flies, grasshoppers, spiders. The larvae need protein to grow, so the workers spend all day killing garden pests and carrying them home. And here's a thing that'll surprise you. For those months, they were working for you. A yellowjacket colony takes an enormous number of pest insects out of your garden. Purdue's entomology people put it plainly. Yellowjackets are beneficial insects when they're far from people. Nobody gets stung in May. Have you noticed that? Nobody complains about wasps in May. Then comes August. 2 things happen at once, and together they make the problem. 1, the colony hits full size. Thousands of workers, sometimes several thousand in one nest, and it's been growing quietly under your grass since April. 2, the food runs out and the diet flips. The queen slows down laying. Fewer larvae means less protein needed. And here's the part most people don't know. The workers were getting their own sugar from the larvae as a secretion in exchange for feeding them. When the larvae stop, that sugar supply stops with them. So now you've got thousands of adult wasps with nothing to eat and a sweet tooth. Now let me tell you how a wasp call actually worked from my side of the door. A stinging insect call was the best call we got. I'll be honest about that. Somebody's scared, somebody's got children in the yard, and they want it gone this afternoon. Nobody haggles over a wasp nest, and a good many of them took me 10 minutes. A paper wasp nest under a porch eave in the evening with a can of aerosol from the truck, 10 minutes and I'm gone. That's what a good many of those tickets were. Now, I earned some of those tickets. A ground nest of yellowjackets in August is genuinely dangerous work, and I've been stung more times than I can count doing it. A nest inside a wall void is a proper job that needs equipment and experience. There's no shame in that money. But here's what I want you to know, and nobody at the door will tell you. There is a real difference between the 10-minute jobs and the dangerous jobs, and homeowners are never taught to tell them apart. So people do one of 2 things, and both are wrong. Some go out with a can and take on a ground nest of 2,000 yellowjackets in the middle of the afternoon and end up in the emergency room. And some pay $200 for a paper wasp nest the size of a fist that they could have handled themselves in 10 minutes for $6. Nobody ever drew them the line. I'm going to draw it for you today, and it's the most useful thing in this video. And there's one more thing we didn't advertise. Every one of those colonies dies on its own in late autumn when the cold comes. Every single one. And the abandoned nest is never reused. Sometimes the honest answer to a customer was, Leave it alone. So here's where we're going. First, what you've actually got. Because there are 4 things around your house, and one of them you must never kill. Then, where the nest is, and how to find it without getting near it. Then the $6 job you can do yourself, and exactly how, at exactly what time of day. Then the nest you must never touch, and how to know it in about 5 seconds. Then the trap for the ones bothering your table. Then what will hurt you, including one thing people do every summer that burns houses down. Then what to do if you get stung, and the sign. 4 things. Get this right and everything else follows. Number 1, and start here, the honeybee. Never kill a honeybee, not one. And I'll tell you how to know her. She is fuzzy. That's the whole test at a glance. Honeybees are covered in fine hair, and she looks soft, golden brown and black, thick-set, rounded. She's slower and heavier in the air, and she'll be on flowers, working, minding her business. A wasp is not fuzzy. She's smooth, shiny, hard-looking, like she's made of plastic. And she's got that narrow, pinched waist between the chest and the abdomen, a thread. A honeybee's waist is thick. And here's the difference that matters most. A honeybee's sting is barbed. It sticks in you and pulls out of her, and she dies. Which means she will only ever use it as a last act, to defend the hive. She does not want to sting you. A wasp's sting is smooth. She can sting you, pull out, and sting you again and again. That is why a wasp nest is dangerous in a way a beehive mostly isn't. If you've got honeybees somewhere on your property, a swarm on a branch, or bees going in and out of a wall, do not spray them. Call a beekeeper. A good many will come and take them away for nothing, because a colony of bees is worth money to them. Many areas protect honeybees, and killing them in a wall leaves you with rotting honeycomb behind your drywall, which is a far worse problem than the bees were. I want that said clearly because I have watched people empty a can of wasp spray into a honeybee swarm out of pure fear, and it's a shame every time. Number 2, the paper wasp. Long, slender, dangly legs trailing behind her when she flies. Brown or reddish, sometimes with yellow markings. Her nest is the giveaway, and it's the easiest nest to identify in America. It's an open, gray, papery umbrella. You can see the cells from underneath, like a little honeycomb on a stalk. No outer covering. Usually under a porch eave, a soffit, a shutter, a mailbox, a grill lid, inside a swing set pipe. She is the least aggressive of the wasps. Paper wasps generally won't come after you unless you're right at the nest. A nest 20 feet up under a gable that nobody walks under is a nest you can leave alone. This is the one you can handle yourself, and we'll get to how. Number 3, the Yellowjacket. Short, stocky, bright yellow and black in sharp bands, smooth and shiny. Much smaller than a hornet. She flies fast and straight. That's a real tell. A honeybee wanders. A yellowjacket goes somewhere, and her nest is hidden. That's what makes her dangerous. Usually in the ground, an old rodent burrow, under a shed, under a rock, at the base of a stump, or inside a wall void, or under siding, or in an attic. You will very often never see the nest. What you'll see is wasps disappearing into a hole in the lawn, over and over, in a steady line. This is the one that ends up in emergency rooms. Thousands of them, underground, defended by an insect that can sting you as many times as it likes. Number 4, the bald-faced hornet. Big, black and white, not yellow-white, with a white face. And her nest is the one everybody has seen in pictures. A gray, papery football hanging from a tree limb or under an eave, fully enclosed with one hole at the bottom. Highly aggressive near the nest. That football is not a homeowner's job. I don't care how big your can is. You can't treat what you can't find, and you must not go looking the wrong way. Here's the whole technique, and it costs nothing. Stand still and watch. Pick a warm afternoon. Stand a good distance back, 30 feet at least, and just watch where they're going. Wasps fly a direct line home. Give it 5 minutes and they'll draw you a map. Watch for a steady stream in and out of one point. That's the entrance. One wasp means nothing. A line of traffic means a nest. Where to look? In the ground, a hole the size of a nickel or a quarter in the lawn. At the base of a tree, under a shrub, in a bank, in an old mouse burrow. Often no mound, nothing to see but the hole and the traffic. Under things, the shed, the deck steps, a woodpile, an upturned boat, a stack of pavers. In the structure, a gap in the siding, a soffit vent, a hole where a pipe or a cable goes in, around a window frame, the corner of a shutter. Under eaves and overhangs, that's paper wasps mostly, and you'll see the nest itself. In equipment, the grill you haven't opened since June, a mailbox, a hose reel, a hollow swing set pipe, an old tire, the birdhouse. 3 rules while you're looking. 1. Do it in daylight, from a distance. Never poke around a suspected nest area at close range. 2. Never swat. University of Kentucky is explicit on this. Resist the temptation to swat and instead carefully move away. Swatting near a nest is how a stinging incident starts. A crushed wasp also releases an alarm signal that brings others. 3. If you find it, mark it from a distance so you don't step on it later. A stick in the ground a few feet away, not a flag right on top of it, and one you'll thank me for. If you're drinking outside in August, keep your thumb over the opening of the can between sips, or use a cup you can see into. A Yellowjacket inside a soda can that goes in your mouth is one of the worst stings there is, and it happens every single summer. All right, the $6 job. This is for a paper wasp nest, the open gray umbrella under an eave, that you can reach standing on the ground, that's smaller than a fist, and where nobody in the house is allergic. If it doesn't meet all 4 of those, skip to the next section. I mean that. What you buy. A can of aerosol wasp and hornet spray. $6 to $10 at any hardware store. Get the kind that sprays a jet 20 feet, not a mist. That distance is the entire safety feature you're paying for. Now, when? And this is the part that keeps people out of the emergency room. After dark, or right at first light, not the afternoon. 2 reasons. The whole colony is home at night. Treat in the day and half the workers are out foraging, and they come back to a poisoned nest and go hunting for whoever did it. And they're far less active in the cold and the dark. They don't fly well and they don't respond fast. Use a red light, not a white one. A torch with red cellophane taped over it, or a red bike light. White light draws them straight up the beam at your face. Red they largely don't see. Before you spray. Long sleeves, long trousers, boots, gloves, and a hat. Not because you plan to get stung, because you plan not to. Plan your exit before you press the button. Know exactly where you're walking, and walk at once in the light so you don't trip in the dark. That's the mistake that turns a sting into a broken wrist. Nobody else outside. Pets in. Children in. Have the door unlocked behind you. I'm serious. The spray itself. Stand as far back as the can will reach. Aim at the nest, not around it. Soak it, a good 3 to 5 second burst, straight at the cells and the stalk. Wet it through. Then walk away. Don't stand and admire it. Don't spray again to be sure. Walk calmly, back the way you planned. Check it the next evening in daylight from a distance. If there's still traffic, treat once more the following night. If it's dead, no movement for a full day, knock it down with a long stick and put it in the bin. And then the important bit that people skip. Checkmark scrub that spot with soapy water and treat it in spring. Wasps come back to the same sheltered spots year after year because the spot is good, not because they remember. An eave that had a nest this year will have one next year unless something changes. When to stop and back off, even on a small job. More wasps come out than you expected. You get stung once, that's the signal to leave, not to finish. You need a ladder to reach it. It's dark and you're not sure of your footing. A nest is not worth a fall off a ladder, and it is not worth a stubborn 10 seconds. Now the other side of the line, and I want you to hear this properly because it's the part of the video that actually keeps somebody out of a hospital. Call a professional. Every time. No exceptions. 1. A ground nest of yellowjackets. Thousands of insects, an entrance you can't see into and no way to know how big it is until you've made them angry. And you're standing on top of it. They come up out of the ground around your boots. This is the single most common way people get badly stung in an American yard. 2. Anything inside a wall, a soffit, an attic, or undersiding. You cannot see it, you cannot reach it, and if you spray the entrance, you drive them into the house. They come out at the light fittings and the outlets, inside, with your family in there. I've been called to those. It's a bad evening for everybody. 3. Anything bigger than a tennis ball. That's the rule of thumb the trade uses, and it's a good one. 4. A bald-faced hornet football. Aggressive, fast, and they'll come a long way after you. 5. Anything you need a ladder to reach. You cannot retreat from a ladder. 6. And this one overrides everything else. If anybody in the house is allergic. Not might be. If there's an EpiPen in your kitchen drawer, you do not do this job, ever, for any nest. 7. If it's near a door, a play area, or a path, get it dealt with properly and quickly. 8. If it's honeybees. Beekeeper, not exterminator. What it costs. Call it $100 to $300 for a typical nest, more for a wall void. And I'll say what I said in every other one of these videos. Sometimes the professional is the right answer, and this is one of those times. I spent 41 years being the fellow they called. There is no shame in that phone call, and there's a good deal of shame in a hospital bill that was avoidable. Now, some of you don't have a nest problem. You've got a table problem. You can't eat outside because there's 6 of them on the food. The nest might be 4 houses away. You'll never find it. So here's what to do instead. A wasp trap. A few dollars, or you make one out of a plastic bottle. Cut the top third off, invert it into the bottom like a funnel, tape it. What goes in it, and this is where people get it wrong. In late summer, sugar. Fruit juice, a splash of soda, jam and water, a bit of overripe fruit. That's what they want in August. In spring and early summer, they'd want meat, and a sugar trap would sit empty. That's why the trap you bought in May didn't work. Add 1 drop of dish soap. Breaks the surface tension so they can't sit on top and climb back out. Where to put it, and this matters more than the bait. Away from where you sit, 20, 30 feet off, at the edge of the yard, upwind. A trap right beside your table is an invitation. You are trying to pull them somewhere else, not gather them next to the potato salad. And be honest about what a trap does. It takes the pressure off your patio. It does not kill a colony. If there are thousands in the ground behind the shed, a trap is a comfort, not a cure. 2 more things that work and cost nothing. Keep the sugar covered. Lids on the drinks, food covered until you eat, bins closed and washed, fallen fruit picked up under the tree. You're removing what they came for. Same principle as every other video I've made. And the ammonia trick. Kentucky's extension people suggest about 6 ounces of ammonia to a gallon of water, sprayed in and around the trash cans and sponged onto outdoor tables. It helps keep them off the surfaces. It's cheap, and I'd rather tell you about something that works a bit than sell you something that doesn't work at all. Now the list, and these aren't things that waste your money. Some of these hurt people every single year. Gasoline. I have to start here. Every summer somebody pours petrol down a Yellowjacket hole, and every summer somebody's yard catches fire, and some of those somebodies end up burned. Gasoline doesn't kill the nest properly. What it does is throw explosive vapor across your lawn where any spark sets it off. It poisons the ground for years, and in most places dumping it on the ground is against the law. I have been called out to the aftermath. Don't. There is no version of this that is a good idea. Fire. Same answer, worse. People burn a nest under an eave and take the soffit and then the roof with it. A paper nest is dry paper against your house. Boiling water. People swear by it for ground nests. Here's the reality. It doesn't reliably reach the whole colony down a burrow, so mostly you enrage a few thousand Yellowjackets from 2 feet away with a kettle in your hands and nowhere to run. And you can scald yourself badly doing it. Plugging the hole. Worst idea on this list for a wall nest. They don't suffocate, they chew. And they chew the other way, into your bedroom. I'm not a doctor. I killed bugs for a living. So this is what I told folks at the door, and every bit of it comes from medical sources. Check the description. For a normal sting. If there's a stinger left in the skin, that means it was a honeybee, not a wasp. Scrape it out sideways with the edge of a credit card or a knife blade. Never squeeze it, and never use tweezers on the sac, because that pumps more venom in. Wash it with soap and water. Ice on it, 15 minutes on, 15 off. Over-the-counter pain relief if you need it. An antihistamine helps the itch. Normal is pain, redness, swelling, and itching at the site. That can look alarming and still be normal. Now, when you stop and call for help. Trouble breathing. Swelling of the throat, tongue, lips, or face. Dizziness or feeling faint. A fast pulse. Nausea or vomiting. Hives spreading away from the sting. Slurred speech. Any one of those, that's 911 right now. Not, let's wait and see, and know the timing. A severe reaction usually starts within the first 10 minutes, though it can begin up to a couple of hours later. So after a bad sting, stay with the person and watch them for a good half hour to an hour. If there's an EpiPen, use it, and still call 911 and go to hospital, even if they seem better. Epinephrine buys time. It isn't the end of it. Some perspective, and it's honest both ways. About 1% of people are allergic to bee and wasp venom, and somewhere around 50 to 100 Americans die every year from stings, nearly always from anaphylaxis. That is a small number against how many stings happen. But it isn't zero, and it's why the rule about the EpiPen in the drawer is not negotiable. And poison control is 1-800-222-1222, free, day or night. Anywhere in the United States. Same number I gave you in the spider video. Put it in your phone. One more. If you've had a bad reaction to a sting before, your odds of another one are high. That's a conversation with an allergist, not something to hope about. Here's the one I promised you. You're treating a wasp nest like a job that has to be done today, when the two best answers are usually wait until dark or don't do it at all. 3 parts to that. 1. Every single one of these colonies is already dying. They live one season. The cold comes, the workers die, the nest empties, and the paper falls apart. It is never reused. Next year's queen builds somewhere new. So a nest high up under a gable, in a tree at the back of the property, in a shed you don't open. That nest is a problem that solves itself in about 8 weeks, for nothing. Nobody in my trade was ever going to lead with that sentence. I'm leading with it. 2. Of the ones that do need dealing with, almost all the harm comes from doing it in daylight, in a hurry, angry. Afternoon, no plan, no exit, sandals, white torch. Every bad sting story I ever heard started with somebody deciding it had to be sorted right now. 3, and this is the one that puts people in hospital. You decided which kind of nest you had by how it made you feel instead of by what it actually was. A ground nest doesn't look like much. A hole in the lawn. No football, no umbrella, nothing hanging. So people think that's a small one and they walk up on it with a can, standing on top of 2,000 wasps that can each sting them as many times as they like. It's not the scary-looking nests that hurt people. It's the ones that don't look like anything. So, identify it, then decide. One last thing, and then I'll let you get on. Tomorrow afternoon, before you cut the grass, stand at the edge of your yard and give it 5 minutes. Don't walk about. Just stand still and watch the ground. If there's a line of them going in and out of one spot in your lawn, you found it before the mower did. That's the whole job today. Mark it from a distance, keep the kids off it, and make the call. And if you find a fuzzy one working the flowers, leave her be. She's not the problem, and she never was. If you want the rest of what 41 years taught me, I put a new one up every couple of days. I'll be here.